Hello, I'm Douglas Hibbert from Talking New Media and CitizenPublishing.net. Approximately a year ago, Murray Morgan and Dave Askins launched an online news site, the Ann Arbor Chronicle, in response to the closing of the local newspaper. They asked Laura Fisher to help with the site design and launch. The following conversation concerns her choice of the use of WordPress and the lessons she learned in the launch.
Fisher. I'm a website developer, and I'm here in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Laura, how did you get involved with the Ann Arbor Chronicle project?
Through, it's a co-working space called Workintile Exchange here in Ann Arbor, and there's various networking that went on, but I met Dave and then Mary, and they were leaving the Ann Arbor News as it closed down last summer, but they launched this well before the news started out. Mary had been a writer and editor there at the Ann Arbor News, and she retired from there and went off with Dave and started a newspaper.
Now, they're really a two-man project, aren't they?
Yep,
I mean,
exactly.
pretty much.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, how long has this site been live?
I want to say it's just over a year now. Maybe that's not right. Time flies, you know.
Well, what caught my attention was the fact that the site is based on WordPress, which is a common platform. So tell me about the decision to use WordPress for the site.
Well, one of the reasons was just because that's what I'm familiar with. But, and that may sound a little bit glib, but it's also one of the strengths of WordPress, is that there are a lot of people out there like me who know how to do custom templating and know how to build plugins and all kinds of things that extend WordPress's core ability. And so, you know, if I were to move to another city or go away or whatever, it would be fairly easy for Dave and Mary to find another WordPress person because there are so many. And so one of the really nice things about WordPress is both that it is so extensible and that there are lots of people out there using it, so it's fairly easy to drum up help if you need it.
Right, that's great. Now, if it seems to me that because it's a common platform, not only could newspaper publishers, a small newspaper, decide to use WordPress, but Laura, do you think that if let's say you were in a community that lost its local newspaper, and you wanted to hurry up and put up a news site and get going, would WordPress be a pretty good alternative for you?
Oh yeah, there are so many just out-of-the-box templates that you can just use and just start writing. One of the key things that Dave and Mary wanted to do was to write. That's what they're out there to do. And so, yes, we do the custom template and stuff, but if you are just looking to get the news out there, WordPress is so fast and so easy to just get up and running. Whether you do it through your own host or whether you do it through WordPress.com, which is a free solution or very low cost, but there's lots of ways to do it, and it just gets you writing. It's really fast to just get started.
Well, you touched on something that I hadn't thought about, which is, of course, that WordPress will host a site. I assume that Dave and are doing it all. Are hosting their own.
Hosted. They're off on their own server. Yes.
Right. Okay. Tell me a little bit about now. You have to customize it, either create a template or customize a template.
Right.
Kind of from start to finish. What did it take to? How long did it take to really go live with it?
Gosh, I'm thinking it was probably maybe 8 or 10 weeks start to finish. And the way I do it, I build these from scratch. This is, you know, what I do, HTML, CSS, a little bit of JavaScript here and there, but generally you start with some visual layouts, and then you start putting the HTML together, then you start plugging in the places where you need all the little WordPress parts to go, so that it knows to put an article here, and a title there, and an author here, and all those little WordPress tags, and then sprucing it up to CSS. So it's not real complex. It's not very much different from building a straight HTML site, for example. It's just a matter of plugging in the WordPress tag so that content appears where you want it to appear. With the Chronicle, we did some more interesting things about, kind of non-standard WordPress behaviors and the way we pull our front page articles and things like that. But it's all standard for WordPress, but
Right.
it's not the out-of-the-box stuff. So there are many, many changes.
Right. Well, as a former publisher, I think the first thing you get worried about is the content management system, that you need some sort of huge, robust content management system. When I would think, looking at the Ann Arbor Chronicle, the key is that you're not really trying to archive years and years of content. So would you think that it's really about getting news up on the front page and then being able to create sections? So would you recommend for a small publisher that WordPress is pretty robust from that standpoint?
I think so. What it takes is a little bit of forethought and planning. You have to look at what you're going to use as categories, and because those categories that WordPress calls categories can become your sections. So you may have a business section, you may have a local news, whatever your sections might turn out to be. What's nice about WordPress is that you can have more than one category for a post. So those things can appear in more than one section, which might be a little bit weird for somebody coming from print, because you probably usually wouldn't run the same story in 2 sections, but it might belong in 2 sections, and now you can with an online thing. And you can then go beyond that and enhance the kind of archiving a little bit using tags. Tags are kind of more free-form categorization tools, and then readers and users can look those up and see all of the posts that relate to this tag, and it's very nice.
Well, it's interesting you said that about the categories, because I've noticed, as someone who reads the New York Times online every day, that I might see a story on the iTunes store in technology, but if you go and you look at under business, the exact same story is showing up on business, whereas in the newspaper, obviously, it's going to probably show up in one place, the business section.
Yep.
So in a way, it's much more, that's how I'd phrase it, internet native, I guess is the best way to phrase it. It's perfect for the internet. That's the way people read online. If you're searching for business, you'll find the story, but if you search for technology, you'll find the story.
Exactly.
Okay.
It works nicely.
Good. The big question for the business community, of course, is you got to monetize the site.
Yes.
And I see that the Ann Arbor Chronicle has plenty of advertising on the homepage. Pretty much is that a simple function of when you're creating the template, putting in the ad spots, giving there some flexibility?
There are a number of out-of-the-box plugins that will do that sort of ad rotation and view counts and so forth and so on for you. But that's not what the Chronicle does. The Chronicle does their advertising much differently. Instead of charging pay-per-click or pay-per-view or whatever, what they do is they sell it by time. You buy a month's worth of ads, and your ad, and you can buy it for a particular slot. So, whether it's on the top right or the bottom left or whatever. But they sell them just by the month, and then they rotate them through those slots depending on how many people have bought that month. And there's higher prices for the ones that are higher up the page and lower prices for ones down the page and things like that. Now, the system that they used was also written by a local developer. His name is Chuck Lowacki, and he wrote a custom script to manage those ads. And again, that's one of the kind of nice parts of WordPress, is that it integrates really easily with other stuff. You can build plugins. This is the script that he put together in a program, but
it's a good question. I mean,
the model, it kind of freaks people out when they're like, "What do you mean it's not pay-per-click?" And I think people get kind of weird, but they're doing just fine. The model is working really well in our small city. And the other thing they discovered about monetization was there were a lot of people who came online and they love the Chronicle, but they're just Joe citizens. But early on, they had no way for people to subscribe, and so they ended up eventually making a PayPal subscription service for people to voluntarily give money to the Chronicle, and it's working out really, really well. So things that you might not think sometimes work in this new era. People who love their newspaper, they're not unhappy to pay for it. So be sure to think outside the box when you're looking at monetizing I think especially a small town kind of newspaper, small place.
Laura, that's a great way to end this. So I really appreciate your time, and good luck with the Chronicle.
Thanks.